I mean, how much of a rookie am I going to feel like? And not even just necessarily in like the actual acting of things or memorizing lines, those kinds of things, but just in the room, like how much is my inexperience going to like shine through?
Yeah.
And I was just really fortunate. I was blessed with such a amazing cast.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, to that point, like wasn't sure if I'd even be kind of included, like not like anybody was going to be mean to me or anything like that. I didn't expect that, but like, people know each other. They already have kind of their groove. And like, here's this guy that is, a full man, like I'm not a child. And it's like, who is this guy and where did he come from? How does he connect to all this? And
the Acting Up with GTC podcast is a production of the Granbury Theater Company. The Granbury Theater Company is a 501c3 nonprofit theater arts production company based in the historic Granbury Opera House in Granbury, Texas. Welcome to Acting Up with GTC, the official podcast of the Granbury Theater Company, where we pull back the curtain and give you a behind-the-scenes look at everything happening at the historic Granbury Opera House.
All right. Welcome to the Acting Up with GTC podcast. I am your host, Micky Shearon, and my co-host, Matt Beutner, is busy working on other stuff today. So sitting in the co-host chair is our special guest, Harlan Bowling. Harlan, welcome to the GTC podcast.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know Harlan, if you've seen Arsenic and Old Lace last fall, or you have seen Mary Poppins so far since one of its first two weekends, you have seen Harlan on stage in both of those shows. And, Harlan and I were visiting back a few weeks ago during Tech Week and hadn't really had an opportunity to talk to him a lot. And he shared that this was only his third show ever. And so we got to talking, and I thought he had a really cool story and would be something good to put on the podcast. So I invited him to come on today. So Harlan, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Like I said, it's good to be here. I am a software engineer by trade. I do that all day. I work from home, so I spend a lot of time behind my desk. And it's been kind of a cool opportunity to get to do something different, get to share some creativity that I had kind of brewing down there. And
And where do you live? You don't live here in Granbury,
right? Yeah, I live in Burleson right now, just kind of on the south side of Fort Worth.
Okay, and you have never done any kind of theater before what, last fall?
Last fall, yeah. No, none at all. I didn't do this during high school. I didn't grow up in any academies or acting at all. It wasn't even on the radar. I did grow up as a musician, so I kind of started as a musician. I played guitar for about 25 years, which makes me feel very old to say out loud. But yeah, I played music for a long time, spent a lot of time on stages, but nothing in this capacity exactly.
Right. So you've been on, you've had some stage time, just not acting. I mean, just the typical musician type stuff. So what was your thought process? And the reason I want to kind of delve into this is because, we are a community theater at Granbury Theater Company. We like to say we're a community theater that doesn't really do community theater. We like to set a high bar and have stuff on our stage that will rival what productions people would see on any stage, pretty much anywhere. And so, but we are a community theater, and one of the core beliefs that we have is that, we're here for people just like yourself, that, they've never really done theater, or maybe they did theater in high school or college or earlier in their life, and kind of like me, got out of it for a while to raise a family and stuff, and then came back to it. But community theater is a wonderful vehicle for for talented people who have an interest to get plugged in and do what they love. So what was your thought process kind of leading up to you making the ultimate decision to audition for Arsenic and Old Lace?
Yeah, well, like I said, I played music for many years, and then about when COVID hit, I kind of stepped away from it, and I found I wasn't exactly missing it the way I thought I would.
Right.
And so it was just a kind of an opportunity for us to reset. My wife and I and our son did some traveling for a little while, kind of around COVID, and then we settled back in DFW, and we've kind of done this for a long time, but we've set these kind of New Year's resolutions, and we're not huge on resolutions in the sense of like lose weight or anything like that necessarily, but more along the lines of like bucket list items, like, hey, here's something I want to try this year, or here's something I want to get involved in this year, or something that, something maybe I can accomplish this year from a, ride 1,000 miles on a bike or something like that, those kinds of things. And something that had been just kind of stirring in the back of my mind for a long time was just wanting to be creative again.
Yeah.
And I had kind of stepped away from music and had wanted to kind of take a break from that. And I was like, but I've got to find another way to get a creative outlet in. And so we do these bingo cards, these like sort of like New Year's resolution bucket list bingo cards every year.
Oh, that's cool.
And so for the one last year, about 19 months ago now, I put on there audition for a play. And it was as simple as that. There wasn't anything beyond that idea. It was just audition for a play. It wasn't get cast in a play. It wasn't do a play.
Right.
It was audition. Yeah. Just see what that process is like and see how it goes. And so that was kind of the thing. And so we had some friends that had done community theater for a long time, the Vantines, who were involved in all kinds of theaters around town. And I noticed that Haley was directing Arsenic and Old Lace. And this was like early on in the year, but the play wasn't until September.
Yeah.
And so I kind of circled it on the calendar and I said, hey, I'm going to go audition for this in the summer. And so I kind of spent a few months kind of thinking about that and preparing for it. But yeah, that's kind of where it started, was this bucket list. I didn't expect to get cast. So,
well, I like your approach there of putting down audition for a play.
Yeah.
Not putting any heavy expectations on yourself of like getting cast or getting cast as a lead or, I just want to audition.
Yeah. It was the thing I could control.
Yeah.
I can control auditioning and being prepared for that and going out there and doing my best. But I can't control getting cast. I can't control being in it, that kind of thing.
Well, that's what the kind of old saying about setting goals is, they need to challenge you, they need to stretch you, but they also need to be realistic.
For sure.
And so you're very right. When you audition for shows, you can do the very best audition that you want or that you can possibly do. And, if you're, whether it's a particular, look or just something that's in the director's mind, you may or may not fit that director's vision of who they have in mind for that role. Doesn't mean you didn't have a good audition.
For sure.
Just means that the director had another, something else in mind. So I think that's really smart to put down, hey, just audition for a play.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't mean you don't take it personally. I try very hard, you learn like, hey, it's not personal, like, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's, the thing you can control is the audition.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons I think some people sometimes maybe have an interest in theater, but I think one of the things that might hold them back from auditioning sometimes is that fear of rejection,
Sure.
Of not getting, not being successful with their audition. And, you do this long enough, and what you figure out, if you audition, it was successful.
Right.
Yeah,
that's kind of the thing that I've kind of had to learn. We're all human, and like, you go to an audition and maybe you don't get the part you want, or maybe you don't get a part at all. And you can kind of look at it as, oh, this is something deficient about me.
Yeah.
And I think that it kind of you have to step back from that a little bit. And like you said, I mean, you don't necessarily know exactly what that director's looking for. And it could have something somebody told me fairly recently was like, it may not have anything to do with you at all. You may be playing alongside somebody else, or that role is playing alongside somebody else, and that fit wouldn't work. Like they've already cast that other person or something, and that fit doesn't work.
Right.
And so it had really nothing to do with you at all. It's just, there's a lot of puzzle pieces to this, as you can imagine, and you know this better than anybody.
100%. Yeah, well, it's like, I just recently had somewhat of a similar, scenario when I directed To Kill a Mockingbird earlier this year. We were particularly with the kids roles, the Jim and the Scout and the Dill characters in To Kill a Mockingbird. The way auditions had gone, we pretty well knew who we wanted as our Scout, and so then it becomes, okay, well, if Scout is supposed to be the youngest of the three kids, well, you can't really, especially with the Jim character, you really, unless you just have no other option, you really don't want to cast a young man that is smaller or looks younger than your Scout character, because Jim is supposed to be like 4 years older, right? And so that it does sometimes make a difference when you've got, okay, I've got this person, and now I need to find somebody that's gonna match well.
Right.
Or match appropriately.
Generationally as well. Like
100%.
Is it realistic for me to have this age of a child, or, something like that? And so,
So the biggest thing is, don't ever take things, when you audition and you don't get cast, don't ever take things personally or that it is rejection, although it does feel like rejection.
Yeah, sure.
But, people ask me all the time, should I audition for this show? And my, blanket response is always yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if for no other reason, you get the opportunity to kind of walk through that process multiple times.
100%.
Yeah.
You're never, every time you audition, you're getting one step closer to being in the position that you want to be in to get the next role.
Yeah.
And so, it in a very real sense, it is practice. And you kind of, being brand new and coming into this, I can, I'm not so old that I don't remember what that was like, feeling like you were kind of the rookie in the room, and you were the one that didn't really know what was going on and how things worked and everything. But the more you do it, the more comfortable that you get with the process. And so, anytime anybody says, well, I've been thinking about auditioning, should I audition? It's like, yes, absolutely audition. Whether you get cast or not is irrelevant, because that's out of your hands.
Yeah. And you never know. You never know. You might be exactly what that director was looking for a particular role.
Yeah. So moving beyond, so you auditioned for Arsenic and Old Lace with Haley, and by the way, we love the Van Tyne family here at Granbury Theater Company. Of course, Mia, Haley's sister, is one of our costume department staff members and does a wonderful job. And she actually assistant directed To Kill a Mockingbird with me. So she is an up and coming, a future director. I have no doubt. So the very, very talented family. But so you got the role. Then when you get into the actual process of rehearsals for Arsenic and Old Lace, kind of tell me what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I had obviously no idea what to expect. That was my first experience in the theater at all. So I had never really been a part of a group like that. I wasn't sure what to expect in terms of like, I mean, how much of a rookie am I going to feel like? And not even just necessarily in like the actual acting of things or memorizing lines, those kinds of things, but just in the room, like how much is my inexperience going to like shine through?
Yeah.
And I was just really fortunate. I was blessed with such a amazing cast. And also, I mean, to that point, like, wasn't sure if I'd even be kind of included, like not like anybody was going to be mean to me or anything like that. I didn't expect that, but like, people know each other. They already have kind of their groove. And like, here's this guy that is, a full man, like I'm not a child. And it's like, who is this guy and where did he come from? How does he connect to all this? And I wasn't sure if I would be included. And I mean, I have nothing but amazing words to say about that entire cast. They were just so inclusive to me and like so just encouraging to me. There was never a day that I left not feeling like, oh, hey, like this was a good decision. This was the right decision. And hey, maybe I can do this. It was very, very uplifting for me.
That's really, really great to hear, because that is one thing that, we really try to stress around, Granbury Theater Company is, we are very much a family, and we always want new people to come in and to be a part of what's going on here. It's new people coming in, obviously with any organization, it's the lifeblood, because it's very easy to get, I don't know. I don't want to use the word necessarily stagnant, but you can kind of get into a groove, and another word for groove is a rut. You know, and so we always like to have new folks come in and be very welcoming, because the thing is, we were all at one point, we were all that person,
right?
And the new person in the room, and so it feels really good when you go into a new place. And you're just kind of welcomed, right? And you feel like you've been here for months, right?
Yeah.
And you've really only been here for like a few days, a few rehearsals, so,
right?
And then through the you went through the Arsenic and Old Lace process, and went through that 3-weekend run of shows, and then you auditioned for. With our friends over at Plaza Theater Company in Cleburne for a show. What did you audition for over there?
I did 7 Brides for 7 Brothers over there in the spring this year.
So you go from a classic, from a play, a comedy to probably one of the bigger dance musicals in the musical theater canon. What was that a shock to your system?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, I had no idea. And so having not grown up in this world, having not really experienced this world for, the majority of my life, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I just saw, hey, there's, there was a show coming up. It sounded like fun. And the timing work of it all, I wanted to make sure that it worked with my schedule. And I was like, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. It gives me a chance to get an experience, in another theater. And so, yeah, I again circled it on the calendar and got myself ready for it, and went to the audition. And it's funny because I get there, or I do the audition. We did like video auditions, and so I did that, and I got a call back, and I was very, very excited about it. And so I show up, and I don't know anyone. This one was like, I knew 0 people walking into it. So you're tense and you're nervous anyway. But I get in there, and they split the callbacks up into 2 groups, and they were like, okay, well, like this half, you're going to get together and you're going to sing, and we're going to go through some of the music. And I'm like, I got this, like, again, I've been a musician for a long time. Like I can kind of handle the music side of an audition. I felt pretty confident. And so did the whole thing, did the music side of things. I felt pretty good. I was like, hey, this is going really well. Maybe I've got a shot at something here. And I had no idea. And, again, inexperience, but like I had no idea that, oh, hey, that's only half, man. Like,
after everybody gets through doing this go round, you're going to switch.
Yeah, exactly. And so, about halfway through, they switch us and they say, okay, now you guys are going to go to the dance portion. And just my eyes just get wide. And I'm like, all right, well, here we go. I mean, what can you do? You just go do it. And so
do it, right.
So we get out there, and it's, it's 7 Brides. And if you're familiar with 7 Brides, it's very fast. It's a lot of movement. This kind of chaos kind of defines that show. And we get in there, I mean, and it's just, I'm just sweating like crazy. And I'm just, I'm fighting my way through the moves. And I mean, full disclosure, did not do well. I mean, I didn't feel like I did well. And I don't think that anyone would argue with me, like even there. I don't think anybody was going to argue that I had that. But yeah, I remember leaving the audition, everybody says thank you and you say your goodbyes. And I remember leaving the audition and I called my wife immediately and I went, hey, no, this one isn't going to happen. I was like, no hard feelings.
Right.
They're not going to cast me in this. Like, I just don't have the chops. I think it was just like a thing that I just wasn't prepared for.
Sure.
And somebody described it to me. It was like, hey, this is at least the choreography side of things. It was like speaking a language you didn't know. Mm-hmm. And so you're getting in there and they're saying words like, I don't even want to say them because they're just going to be recorded. They're saying words to me. I don't want to say them wrong. Yeah, I don't want to say them out loud, and then everybody laughs. Yeah. But no, excuse me. They're saying words I don't know.
Right.
And you're trying to do these things, and I don't know how to do them. I especially don't know how to string them together.
Right. Right.
And so I'm just like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I called my wife and said, no way, it's not going to happen. And a couple of days later, I got a call and they said, hey, would you like to come be Preacher Perkins? And I said, sure. Do I have to dance? And they said, no. And I said, fantastic, I'm your man. And so, yeah.
You found your guy.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I got to go and be a part of that show and sing a lot and be in a lot of scenes. I had a lot of things to do, but thankfully they excused me from the dancing.
But the great thing is that now, even in your early stages of your, theater experience, you've gone through an audition for a gigantic, big dance heavy musical. So you've been there, you've done that. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of know now what to expect. You've auditioned for a straight play, you've auditioned for a musical. So you've kind of seen, you've seen the deal.
Yeah.
And so, essentially from here on, any audition that you go into, you're going to be able to say, okay, I've seen this. I've been in this setting, so it will make you feel quite a bit more, comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever feel 100% comfortable doing the choreo side of things, but yeah, it at least knowing what I'm in for.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, not non-dance people like us. I mean, we're not clearly, obviously, we're you and I are not dancers. Yeah. But I guess the term is a mover. An actor who can move.
Yeah.
And I think as actors, and especially as with my age, I won't put that label on you yet because you're considerably younger than me.
I get there.
But at at 64 years old, I figure, if I can move good enough just to get through the audition and everything, but the thing is, you never know, because when I got into, I guess about 7 or 8 years ago, when we knew we were going to be putting Young Frankenstein on our season in 2018, I knew that I loved that show, and I wanted to do it. And one of my favorite dance numbers in all of the musical theater canon is the Putting on the Ritz tap dance number from Young Frankenstein, and I just knew I wanted to try to do that.
Yeah.
Had never tap danced in my life, and and my daughter Whitney, we were talking about it one night, and she said, "Why don't you just go take tap lessons?"
Yeah.
And it's like, at that time I was probably in my mid to mid 50s, and it's like, I'm a mid 50-year-old guy. I've never taken tap in my life. She says, well, it's a good time to start.
Yeah.
And so I did, and ended up actually getting in the tap ensemble, and of course I had almost a year of tap lessons under my belt. So you never know, Harlan. You may end up being in a dance ensemble.
Well, that's the common thread, right? I mean, it's the you just never know until you start to try it, and not to be too cliche or anything, but just stepping out there and putting yourself out there and being willing to try something new that might be slightly uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
You just never know. You might find out that you love it. And I mean, I can speak to that for sure.
And there's a definite difference between uncomfortable and unpleasant.
Sure.
I think sometimes we shy away from things outside our comfort zone because we equate being uncomfortable with being not a pleasant experience.
Right.
And I think that's a big holdup that some people have is they think, well, I don't want to feel like a failure, and I don't want to step out there and step outside my comfort zone and then end up being disappointed.
Yeah.
And that's not what you're doing.
Yeah, it can be scary. It can be scary to try something new, and I mean, the reality of it is, hey, you might not be great at it, and that's okay too. Like it's okay to get out there and try some things. Get out there, try some things, and then find out that, hey, that isn't for me.
Yeah,
is a much better place, I think, to be.
Yeah,
than to just never try and feel like you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
So you went through I guess like a 5-weekend run of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers at Plaza Theater, and then come back over here and you see Mary Poppins auditions, and you decided to audition for Mary Poppins.
Yeah, everybody loves Mary Poppins, and
right.
and we knew that. The timing of it worked out really well. I could contribute to it. And so, went into the audition process, just kind of not necessarily knowing exactly what to expect out of it. Was it going to be similar to my Arsenic experience? Was it going to be more like the crazy Seven Brides audition experience? And it was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And not to like bury the lead, but I have to dance.
Yeah,
I got cast and I have to dance.
Yes,
and
you're doing it.
I'm doing it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been challenging. Again, it's been challenging, but about Thursday of Tech Week, I finally was like, hey, I think I maybe can do this.
So in the last year, you've gone from not doing any theater to now you're on your third show.
Yeah,
and you are actually dancing on stage in a main stage production. Yeah,
it's funny because like on paper, this is I'm in the ensemble, so like I don't have necessarily a featured role in any scene, but when you really get into the practicality of it, this is easily the most challenging show I've done in terms of just my particular job on the day of, and
and you're on stage a lot.
Yeah, I'm on stage quite a bit in this show, and so I'm. I've got several quick changes where, like I'm still tying a tie as I'm walking out onto stage.
Yes.
Or, like I said, having to change fast, or having to get into a dance number, or having to be in a spot, having, lots of things to sing and to be, to fill out scenes.
Right.
And so, there's a lot of movement. And so I've got a lot of responsibility in this one. I'm excited.
Well, and I don't want to be a spoiler for people, but I you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I do.
I want people to come see this show, if for no other reason than to see Harlan in a teddy bear costume. I mean, a life-size teddy bear costume.
I've been playing it up. On social media. That's like the scene where I am kind of a feature in that scene, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot different than any other scene in the play. You just have to see it to understand. You definitely have the moments where you kind of look at it and go, whoa, that wasn't in the movie, and where did that come from? And it's been fun.
In the scene in the show is, the song is the game, and where the toys, kind of come to life and everything, and start coming out of the toy box and dancing around and kind of getting their vengeance on the kids who mistreat them, right?
Yeah, it's a weird one. It like I said, it's not in the movie, and so people aren't necessarily as familiar with that scene. But yeah, I mean, essentially, not to spoil anything, but yeah, the kids are mistreating their toys, and Mary is there to kind of straighten them out, and in doing so, she summons the toys to life to scare them straight, and it's like I said, it's a weird one.
A full grown
man,
burly adult male out in a bear costume that looks like a gangster, very gangster persona.
Yeah, we're there to be intimidating and scare them. It's funny. We've been laughing because it's kind of against type for me to be, big scary man, and so I've been joking that Stevie, who plays Jane in the show, I was like, she's so talented. First of all, so talented, but she's so good at looking scared. And and there's this moment, and we've got a great picture of it, and it's just me staring her down, and she just looks terrified. And I was like, it's working because it's making me uncomfortable. And so
that I'm scaring this child.
I was like, I don't like that I'm scaring this child so much. And so,
but it's been fun. It kind of has almost a Toy Story vibe, where the toys are coming to life.
Yeah, except we're Sid's toys. We're not the fun toys. We're the awful
toys.
Sid's
toys. Yeah, that have been mistreated. But it's a great scene. But it won't give anything else away. But yeah, it's a great show, and you don't want to miss Harlan Bowling in Mary Poppins. And we have still 3 weekends left. Yep. So you've got lots of opportunities to still come and see the show. And let me ask you this, kind of wrap it up a little bit. But if you were being still kind of in your first year of being involved in theater, being on your third show now, if somebody was either watching or listening to this and they're kind of where you were a year ago, what would, and they've been thinking, I kind of, I've gone to some shows at the Opera House, and I kind of, I've kind of got a little bit of an itch to maybe put my toe in the water. What would you tell them?
Yeah, we have a mantra in my family. I've got a 15-year-old son, and he's gone through his life as an only child, and so a lot of the things that he's done in his life has been us kind of spurring him on and letting him, giving him confidence to do things. And the mantra we have in our family that we say all the time is, "You can do hard things." And it's just a kind of a parenting rule for us, is like to encourage him that he can do hard things. And part of getting into this for me was not only to convince myself that was true, that I could do hard things, but also to kind of give that impression to him that, like, hey, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's going out there and trying hard things.
He's living what he talks.
Yeah. And so that's been a big, through line through this whole thing has been like, hey, I do enjoy this, and there's a big part of this for me that's selfish, and I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it and whatnot, but also just the idea that I'm growing as a person, that I'm able to kind of have this outlet, this creative outlet that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. And I would just say you can do hard things. You might surprise yourself, and so I think that's been the thing, and does require a certain level of personality to do it, but it's not necessarily what you might think.
Right.
And so there's that sense of like, oh man, I have to be an extrovert. I am not. That you have to be an extrovert. You have to be super duper confident. You have to be just this outgoing, boisterous personality. And that's just not the case. And a lot of the actors and actresses that I've been able to share a stage with, a lot of them aren't that way either. But something kind of comes alive on the stage. And
matter of fact, most people that I know that do theater are definitely on the introverted side of the scale, myself included. And, people who don't do theater, look at people who do and automatically, I think, assume that they're very outgoing type A personalities.
Yeah.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah. No, I mean, what it really requires out of you is a humble spirit. I always say you kind of have to bring humility to it. And I don't have a choice because, again, this is my third show. Mm-hmm. So, I'm coming into these productions and you think, oh, this child here, oh, surely they have as much experience. No. And then you find out that child has been doing this for 7 years and I'm on I'm right at year 1. Yeah. So, you find out that these people have been doing this for a really, really long time. And, just the approach to it, if you can come into it with kind of a humble spirit and just be a sponge and just learn and listen to the things that they say and see how these people go about their business and just absorb.
Yeah.
And so that's been kind of, again, the through line for me over the last year has just been absorbing.
Yeah.
These people are so talented. But they're so inclusive. I've had such a great, experience.
Yeah.
And so, I think that was a long-winded way of saying you can do hard things. You might find out you love it.
Yeah.
Approach it with humility, and you never know. You never know. You might love it.
Man, I think that is a very clippable moment right there, a tweetable moment. I love that, and I especially love the part about approach it with an attitude of humility and everything, and just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step out there.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. That's right. And so I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today. I definitely, I know without a shadow of a doubt that there are people out there that are watching or that may be listening that are where you were, this time last year, and just thinking, that would be kind of cool. I'd kind of be interested in just trying that. And so, my recommendation would be, and I think yours is too, is, as you said, just don't be afraid to do hard things, and just do it. Step out there and do it, and just don't worry about the result.
Yeah,
just step out and do it, because you're definitely never going to get cast if you don't audition.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Harlan, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming. Again, Mary Poppins live on stage at the Granbury Opera House through September the 6th. So you have 3 more weekends. You can get your tickets by going to granburytheatercompany.org, or you can call the Opera House box office at 817-579-0952. We want to see you on one of our 3 remaining weekends for Mary Poppins at the Granbury Opera House. Harlan Bowling, thank you so much for joining us on the Acting Up with GTC podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Acting Up with GTC. To support the podcast, visit our Patreon page, patronize our sponsors, and come join us for an upcoming production at the Granbury Opera House. Subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, and be sure to tell us what you think of the show on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Thanks for acting up with us. See you soon.